Thank you. Thank you for making sure I know what the heck I'm talking about. And I'll tag you in just a second so that it'll do magic on your side too. So, but some of you know, some of you don't know. We are the Flossom Four. We are four women who embrace our quirkiness, embrace not knowing all the things we don't know, but also embrace the journey of learning along the way. And tonight it's just the three of us. Dawn is on a very special date with her man. So that's awesome. Hopefully they're not at a clown conference, but
Hopefully they're not with the insane clown posse.
yes, let's hope that then that's a story for a different day. We'll have to do that a different day. But
We're gonna have Dawn tell that story.
yes, we will have her tell that. But we just kind of, we take things that from our group chat of miscellaneous random whatever, and we go, hey, so if we're all thinking about this, I bet other women in midlife are thinking about these things too. And sometimes they're a little more personal in nature. And sometimes it's just a inquiring minds. And tonight, we've just decided we are going to talk about all of these THC beverages that are popping up everywhere. I'm telling you, ladies, I was at a social host today, and there were as many cans of that as there were like craft beers. And the things I was seeing, anywhere from 5 milligrams of THC CBD combination to, I didn't see anything that, I think everything I saw was a THC CBD combination, and all the way up to 50 milligrams, 50, of THC. And I'm thinking to myself, a bit of a novice, not really understanding all of the things you need to understand when you're looking at a can. I'm automatically thinking, are those even legal those numbers, right? Is that even legal? And I'm not gonna lie, I had ChatGPT do the math for me, so I now kind of understand that. But I don't know how somebody goes into one of these, whether it's a social house, a liquor store, a beer and wine store, wherever you can buy them in your local area. I don't know how people are choosing what they should be drinking, what like milligrams, they should start at. If I was if I didn't know anything, I would look at those and go, oh, well, 5 all the way to 50. Well, I know I like to have a couple of drinks. So I'm going to start at 25. Which is so wrong. But because we don't know what we don't know, I now know if I did one with 25 milligrams, you'd have to like scrape me up off the floor. But so that's really what we're going to chit chat a bit about. I see Meredith is drinking hers, and let me just tell you, I love, love, love the Carolina berry. That's my favorite, hands down. I haven't mixed them yet. Have you ladies mixed them?
Yes, it's very good mixed.
Okay,
I'm
It's
sure I
I
would love
mean
it.
it tastes like a lemonade, lemonade, blueberry, blackberry kind of.
nice. Okay,
But
That's
I
what I have also.
personally, yeah,
That's
the
what I'm sick
lemonade is my preferred.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I do. I, I can see that. The lemon is a little bit soft. We got a little sidetracked here, but that's the way we work. But anyway, what we're chatting about tonight is like what to look for, what's legal, how to know the difference between like when you're reading the label to know if you're getting something synthetic, so chemically made, as compared to something that is naturally made. And kind of what the difference are in those. We just want to make sure, obviously, we all They're now in our product line with Green Compass. So we're all hyper aware and super aware of what's going on out in the market. We're not here to tell you you need to buy ours. We're just here to tell you if you want to dabble in a alcohol alternative, that a lot of these are a really great option, but but, but, please make sure you're reading the label. You understand where they are, what they are, where they came from, um, all of those things. So, you know, Meredith, do you want to like maybe touch base on, I don't know, pick something, that people should really be paying attention to?
So, we talked about this trip before, but when we went to Palm Springs last October, for the incentive trip, of course, THC in whatever form is legal in California. They're a legal state. And I say THC in whatever form because people get muddled up into the marijuana is legal versus hemp is legal. In California, it's all legal. But so far as what you're consuming and which plant it's coming from does kind of make a difference because marijuana is high in THC and low in CBD, and hemp is high in CBD and low in THC. So also, then you could get into this whole conversation about strains, but that's a whole nother ballgame for a different day. um, when we got there, of course, being girls who are huge fans of the hemp plant, we wanted to check out some of the local wares, so to speak. So we Googled and found a really gorgeous dispensary. I mean, it was phenomenal. And the customer service was absolutely 20 stars out of 10. I felt like I was literally talking to my mom. My mom was like my bud tender because she was, shorter, curly hair, brown, wore glasses. And I was like, man, this is awesome. There's this lady in here that is every bit of got to be super close to retirement age, if not at retirement age. And she's a bud tender. And she was so amazingly informative. Um, and again, being not just wellness advocates, but wellness advocates who advocate for wellness that's USDA certified organic and transparent. We asked her all of the questions about, hey, they want to know what kind of feeling you want to feel. Are you, trying to treat an ailment? Like, are you going back on the plane and you need something to calm your nerves, stuff like that. So they ask you a bunch of questions. And then we made it very clear. We're like, listen, we don't want just whatever off the street. Like, we want something that is definitely not going to hurt us in the potential manner that it's got any heavy metals, pesticides, and God knows what else is in it. So she steered us down a direction, and educated us. And then we saw drinks in the case. And I was like, I want to try a couple of those. So we got, I think, three different ones. I'm not gonna lie, there was a Pabst Blue Ribbon pineapple seltzer, and I was like, this is gonna taste like trash. But to my chagrin, it actually tasted very good.
It was so yummy.
It was so yummy. Um, but we can't get them here, number 1. Number 2, the drinks were a little less, there was one drink that I can't say for certain it was USDA certified organic. However, I do know that their label says that everything they use is natural, and at least the ingredient list on the can listed things that I could pronounce. That's if you can't find USDA certified organic, at least be able to read your ingredient list. So there was one that I could read and pronounce and understand. The other two are maybe not so much, but they were definitely higher in milligram count. One was the one that I could read was 5 milligrams. There was a 10, and then there was a 15. And the 10s and 15s came with resealable pop tops. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, they have got it in their head that this isn't just a one, just toss it back, be done, and walk away. They understand there are some people out there with lower tolerances, that might need to take a little, you know, a quarter, a couple of sips, up to a half maybe, and then put that top back on, reseal it, and save it for another day. And they weren't wrong. Um, they definitely made a wise choice on putting resealable pop tops on those two cans, because there's no way I would be able to consume all of that and be able to function, move my arms. I can't move my arms. Um, so Kelly, that's not just you. It's not just you. I walk that road. So, um, it, I just cannot. And we also heard this same story from another advocate of ours who said that they had a friend that consumed a THC drink, and she got paranoid. Her heart rate was at 160, thought she was dying, and had to go to the ER. And then, uh, you know, the husband was talking to her about this, and she said, "What did she have?" And he sent her a picture, and I about fell over when I saw that picture. It was 50 milligrams. This is four. Okay, this is a 12-ounce can, 4 milligrams, 8 milligrams of CBG, four of THC. I can drink this and I do not feel buzzed. I do not feel altered. I do not feel any other way than super chill. Like, we're not going to make it on time to where I'm supposed to be in the next 30 minutes. All right. It's cool. Unbothered is the best word I can say for that. They had 15 milligrams in a can this size. Okay, when I was in California, there's no way I would have been licking the side of the pool deck. But 50 milligrams in this can. Now listen, I understand there are people out there that have super high tolerances, but for your normal Joe Schmo, 4 milligrams is a perfect microdose. You can add after that, and it gives you time to be like, you know what? I'm getting to where I want to be. I need to stop, instead of consuming
You,
a whole can of 50 milligrams and then,
Meredith, you say that, and I think that's really important for people to understand, because I know I didn't, right?
right.
Again, novice here. And I was like, oh, well, you drink a whole can, and then however you feel like when you're done, or within like 20 minutes, it's kind of like what you're going to feel. Kind of
Right.
like if you have a cocktail and then you're done and you get to whatever that level is, and it just kind of hangs out there. I didn't know, right, that with so many of these beverages, that yeah, you're here, but then all of a sudden, maybe 30, 40 minutes after that is when it's really starting to kick in. And then you're here and you don't want to be here. And
Right.
there's no,
And you
you can't
gotta,
backtrack.
yeah, you
You
gotta
can't,
wait
I
for
mean, you
time to run
can.
its course.
There's ways to do that, but most people don't have that
Correct.
available, right?
Right.
So now they're
Because
here,
most of the time when people do that, it's not because they're like at their 10th, 11th, 12th, 15th time of doing this.
right?
It's
It's
like the first time, or it's been years since, or, you know, what I had back in the 70s is not what these kids have nowadays type situation. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah.
All that.
I
I
think
love
that
that,
that's
Kelly.
very
All that.
important to know. It's like drinking, what were those drinks that they had back in the 2000s? They were alcohol. You could get them out of the cooler, and they were hopped up with like caffeine in them.
Oh, I know
What?
what you're talking about. My kids talked about them. Like,
Yeah. And
Oh
they're
God.
terrible for you because now you've
Right.
got the
Well, they took them
alcohol
off
in
the
there.
market.
Yeah.
They were so dangerous, and
Yeah.
people were consuming them at such high rates. I mean, you think about taking, it's like drinking Red Bull and vodka. You take vodka and you mix it with Red Bull, but then you keep on drinking all night long. And instead of having a half a can of Red Bull or a whole can of Red Bull, you've had like four or five if you're
Right.
someone who has a high tolerance. So, same situation with THC drinks. Like, it's nice to have a more manageable dosage at a maybe a lower dose so that you can enjoy over the duration and have the wherewithal to like, when the timings that you're kind of like, oh, you know what? Ding, ding, ding. I think I'm at my where I need to be. But you consume a whole can of 50 milligrams and holy crap, like I would
Yeah.
be on my back. But that's, we heard the same thing. It's very reminiscent of whenever Delta 8 really made a big show onto the CBD stage. People were consuming it and were not very well informed and educated of what Delta 8 is. And if for those of you who don't know, Delta 8 is a synthetically made THC. So the plant doesn't produce Delta 8 THC in high enough quantities to be commercially available. So they synthetically make it. Synthetics can mean all kinds of things. It can be cut with butane gas, it can be cut with alcohol, it can be cut with a whole bunch of other things in order to, make it, and all the other stuff that they do to make it synthetically. And we started seeing high rates of people who were having things like super bad experiences because their high went too far, and they were, having the paranoia and the over anxiousness and the high heart rates, and they were going to the hospitals. Kids were getting hold of this stuff,
Yep.
which was
Yeah.
really, really scary. And then finally, they actually had one or two deaths off of Delta 8. And so they tried to pull it off of the market. I think the law still stands that any synthetic cannabinoid cannot be, sold as CBD product, and it's technically illegal. However, they can't enforce it. That's the way
Well,
that
and
I
that
still understand that rule.
I think that's something so important
Right.
that, right, the
Well, it's like people are
regular,
going to the vape shops and they're getting stuff and they're assuming that just because it's on the shelf, just because it's in the store, it's either number one safe, which we've already proven that fact over and over again over the last several years. Just because the store is selling it or your doctor is selling it does not necessarily mean that it's safe and that it's good for you. Okay? Like do your research. Quit being a mind numb robot just trusting everybody to tell you what you want to hear. um Read the labels, so then you got people walking into vape shops and thinking that they're getting product that is number one legal and number two safe, and that's not the case. Not only is it possibly very not safe, like we've seen with vapes all of a sudden, and they're pulling those off the market, but it's not legal. Like
right.
you got unsafe product and then you got illegal product, which just by proxy is unsafe. Um, so people still need to be wary that just because it's there in my store doesn't mean that I need to be consuming it.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. And Kelly, what are you finding, like, now that you've started sampling them a bit? I know you love your Prosecco, and we love that you love your Prosecco. But like what are you noticing? Or, what's your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I was just going to say that I would be remiss if I did not interject the what I would say that the thoughts of our beloved Dawn Dutcher, because she's not here, that just because something has more THC does not necessarily mean that it's better. Sometimes less is more, and less is really what your body needs. Because I know we've had this conversation on multiple of our chats that sometimes people are just consuming way too much THC, way more than your body can even handle. So I think that's the obvious. So that's what I've just been sitting here thinking about. Like I know that she would
The
have chimed in
husband was
already
talking.
about that. Um, but for me, I have actually gone to a local beverage mart here in Clayton and actually just asked the guy, because he was very knowledgeable. I went to the section. I said, I'm just looking for something like an alcohol alternative. This was before, we got into our new subcategory here. Before six was even a conversation, with us. But um, I went and I said, I want to try something. But the guy was just so great about educating me that because as a novice, and just the different milligrams that are in the different products, he was just telling me about a couple that he personally had enjoyed. But he gave me the sage advice of just trying a little. They came in, I think, like 4 packs or something, and they had like these little snap-on little lids. And he gave me the tip of like cutting them and making like little individual like pop-on things so I could, put that back on the can. But to start with a very small amount. He said, don't drink the whole thing, take it slow, and just to take inventory of how I'm feeling, much like what we have given, counsel to our clients these past 6 years with CBD, because you have to kind of keep inventory of how you're feeling. This is different though, because you are, after a few minutes, 30 minutes, sometimes depending on what the thing is, you're going to feel different. You are going to feel altered in some way. And if you had already consumed, heck, for me, even, 5 milligrams, I think five was what I started with. I think I got a five, and then I got another particular brand that maybe had 8 or something like that. But I would literally get probably like 4 or 5 drinks. And when I say drink, like that, from one can. I would make that last for a very long time because I didn't want to have that awful experience where, like, oh crap, I can't take that back, and now I'm stuck here for 4 hours, in that feeling. I've experienced that. Y'all witnessed it, and it's terrible when you get too far gone, and like there was nothing I could do but just go, pull the cover over my head until it went away. But just me, that's just me personally. I don't
Yeah.
like feeling altered. I don't like not feeling in control of myself. And that's with alcohol or with anything. I'm very much in control of myself. And if I ever feel, self-conscious or like I'm not, I want to be out of the area. I don't want to be around people because I would be embarrassed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
no, absolutely. And at a certain point in our life, right, in our 40s, 50s, I don't need to be embarrassed that way anymore. I still need to be able to hold my head high the next day. I'll tell you, so last night was the first time that I've actually had two of our six drinks, right? And we were at my son's house and we were playing some games, and I was like, I wonder if it's going to make me really sleepy, or what it's going to do. Because in the past, when I've had them, I would have one in the evening. Mark and I would each have one, and maybe about 8:30 at night, when we're already tired, but we were just looking for something just to wind down a little bit. And we'd be in bed within an hour and sleep great. So I was a little concerned, like, what is having two gonna do? Am I gonna be falling asleep at my son's table, right? And I loved it. I didn't even when we drove home, Mark drove home, and I told him, I said, I don't know that I really feel a whole lot, but really what I noticed was I was really able to be present. My shoulders weren't here, right? We were playing games with new people who I don't really know, and we were playing some silly games, and it was about, learning each other. So sometimes that can be a little intimidating for me, but it allowed me to just go with the flow, and my shoulders were down, and I was able to concentrate and be in the moment without, sometimes if I have two drinks, you all know I'm already squirrely, and I can't stay on task. Well, when I get two drinks, it's even worse, right? Then I've got to tell every story in the middle of somebody else's story all the time. And I just can't help it. And it's bad enough when I'm sober and do that, but when I have a couple of drinks, that's just who I am. I get it. And I love that Meredith Kroom. I love that I was able to just be. And the thing that I noticed, I told Mark, I said, I felt calm, I felt present. I felt a little, so sometimes when I have like two cocktails, right? I feel a little, I don't know, wavy. I don't know what else to call that. Kind of wavy, kind of not quite clear. Um, it was almost like I felt a little more, I told him it was like I wasn't seeing everything over here. It was more here. And I woke up this morning. I felt great. I wasn't tired. I wasn't groggy. I didn't feel blah. And I just, I don't know. I felt great as compared to when I have two cocktails and the next day I'm still feeling
I will I will tell
bleh.
you, like, my sleep, the nights that I have a 6 are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, I just really thought that I had kinda got my sleep dialed in, um,
And then,
and then perimenopause comes in and decides she
yeah,
wants to make changes. So there's been
fair.
a lot of changes lately, however, I
Mhm.
will say that that is,
Yeah.
quite frankly, if you're someone who suffers with, not sleeping very well, or if you are definitely that person who sleeps like crap after you drink alcohol, which I think is most everybody at this age,
Yeah.
then I would highly recommend. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all that. My best friend from college was in town this week and I got to see her. And she wears one of those aura rings. And she had purchased a case of 6, a case of the lemonade. And so when she came down, it was right after we got the Carolina berry. I was like, hey, I'm going to bring you a 4-pack. We went over and looked at the house and stuff like that. And she was like, I just want to tell you, she said, my aura ring, she said, I usually track somewhere between like 84 to 90. She's like, at my best, at my height. She said, every time I drink a 6, I am consistently at 96. And I
Wow.
was like, "Holy crap." And she's like, "It is," she said, and I finally, same thing with her. She's like, "I finally got my sleep situation dialed in." She said, "But it's a huge
Yeah.
difference."
That's
I was gonna say the 6, and then like a quarter or a half of a unwind gummy.
whew,
I no, I
that's
am
awesome.
I am a happy girl. I sleep so well. Like everything is just so good. And the
Yeah.
one thing I was going to say, that when I do drink one of these, like I haven't had like two whole ones, but I've had one and a half, like over the course of a period of time. Sometimes I mix it with a little bit of my seltzer water, just like my bubbly, because I do like bubbles. But I don't even want my prosecco. I don't even care about it. Like I feel so good, and I think a lot of this, with whether somebody is just like really, like has made a decision to not drink for whatever reason, whether it's health or just whatever the personal choice is, or somebody who's just curious or just maybe wants to cut back a little bit, which is kind of me. Um, just because I know I don't need to have as much alcohol, but like I genuinely don't miss it. And if I do drink it, I might have like a little tiny bit of red wine or something like that, just because
Yeah.
like I just really enjoy the taste of it. And I've yet to find something non-alcoholic that is remotely close. Now I
Mhm.
did have a non-alcoholic beer with my burger tonight when we went to dinner. I had a Stella, you know, 0.0, and it was fabulous. Like I
Yeah.
hadn't had a Stella Artois in a long time, but like I literally would have thought that I was having a regular beer, and I feel great, and I won't have any kind of a icky feeling tomorrow.
Well, I think that's so great. So many people are just making a conscious choice
Hmm.
if they want to have a cocktail or not. And I'm not here to say I'm giving up cocktails 100% because I would be lying. But I think it allows us all, the world is changing in such that we're all taking a minute to think about what do we want to have. And it's shown in the numbers, right? I was just doing some quick stats on, just a quick Google or whatever on THC CBD beverages. And like right now, I think they're saying in the United States, in 2025, it's like 1 billion, right? In sales. And they're projecting just in the US, right? So just in the US, that it's going to be like 4 billion in just a few short years. And it's going to be, I mean, the estimates to like 2030, 2032, those are like at 24 to 70 billion dollars. So this isn't going away, and more people are making right choices. So to me, I guess that's really why we wanted to be on here, right? Everybody, we understand that you have choices, but we want you to be able to understand when you go to the store what you're looking for, right? So you don't want anything that's a Delta 8, a synthetic created. You definitely want something that is hemp derived.
Right.
Now I'm speaking in the fact for the states where marijuana is not legal, right? So if you're in a state where marijuana is not legal, you need to make sure that those THC drinks that you're drinking are truly coming from hemp. Um, and you need to make sure you know really what's in them. Meredith touched on that with being able to read the label. It's no different than reading your cereal label, right? If it has 57 items in there and you can't pronounce 3 of them or any more than 3, there's a problem. Maybe put that one back and try something different. And also, more's not better. More's not better. You need to start low and slow, figure out what your body needs. I mean, if you want to black out, you do you, but that's not really what any one of us are having these for, right? We do them more for the relaxation. It's a social drink still. It's great sleep. Now, granted, ours are a little bit different than a lot of the things that are out there because it has the 4 milligrams of THC. It has 8 milligrams of CBG, which we haven't talked about on here. We've talked about it over and over and over again, how great it is for you. Everything from an anti-inflammatory to gut health. And Meredith has shared her gut health journey with CBG over and over. It's been a total life changer for her. So really, we just want everybody to know what you're looking for. And, not all THC drinks are created equal. And if you're curious, just make sure you're, I don't know, sipping smart, I guess.
Right.
Read the label, know the source, trust your gut. And tonight, hopefully, if we've taught you anything, it's that education and advocating for yourself is really where you need to be. We're not here to I don't know, we're not here to scare anybody, right? But yet we kind of are, because this is a space where we want to be real. We want to scare you in the fact that we want you to advocate and read labels and question things for yourself. But we're here to support each other and to empower choices together, and kind of a safe space. I mean, we ask questions of each other on this call all the time about what if, what can, what about this? So I'll just say this, if somebody's listening 30 minutes in here, and if you really want to explore or look at like some truly clean options, reach out to any one of us. We have resources. We can share the real info with you on products that, whether they're products that we personally can share with you, or maybe we just have a link, or we can give you some guidance on how to pick a different product. That's what we're all about. We're not here for the sale. We're here for the education. We're here for the community. And if we can just help one more person make an educated choice on what's better for them personally, then, then our time here is well spent. So, that's like all I really have. I don't know if any one of you have anything else you want to throw in there or.
No, I mean, use your brain. Like, if honestly, if someone presents you with one of these drinks and says, "Hey, it's no big deal," like, ask some questions, make sure you're comfortable. If you know us and you want to reach out to us and we would be glad to give you our personal opinion,
Yeah.
not even based on the fact that, we're Green Compass advocates, just our personal opinion being in the space and being like, might be too high, or you might want to split that can with 10 other people, or yeah, that's probably a nice phase to roll in with, you know what I'm saying? Like, so,
That 50 milligrams, man, that would that
I
would
can't
take me
well,
on
imagine.
out of
the
here.
bad thing is the name of it was PH instead of FUCK up.
Oh,
Oh,
It was like
well,
effed up,
there you
you
go.
know what I'm saying? But with a
There you go.
PH. And I was
mhm.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
you would definitely be pretty tore up from the floor up consuming 50
Oh
milligrams.
my gosh.
Man. I
That's
would
just,
be. I
yeah.
would be like, please take me straight to the ER. Like, just have
I,
them
I
put
lost
me
my
under
hands.
until I can't feel my arms. You
Well,
probably
I
wouldn't even be able to talk. You'd be drooling on yourself, hoping, just sitting there, tell yourself, breathe, breathe. Like, I can't imagine.
it's got to be dangerous. That's got to be dangerous, and especially if somebody were to do something like that and combine alcohol, because then your body, I mean, like the physical response to that literally could be deadly.
Yeah.
You know,
100%. I mean, yeah.
And that,
So,
that also would drift us into another conversation about CHS. So like I can't remember what the cannabis hyperparesis syndrome. So like when you over consume cannabis, it
yeah.
actually will make you sick. So, you know, that's something else to think about.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And we can get into those and some maybe we can chat about that another week and
Yeah.
some other things like when you take too much, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's a little bit, and when you take too much, how come your anxiety gets worse?
Right. Yeah.
Those types of things, because we've
Right.
all had those experiences.
Mm-hmm.
So, we just want to, thank everybody for hanging out with us tonight. Keep asking questions, keep reading the labels, and, just keep showing up for yourself on your wellness journey. And as Meredith said, if you have any questions, throw them our way. If there's another topic you want us to chit chat about, we are always open to that. And, we just hope you all have a really, really great Sunday evening.
Good night.
thanks,
Talk to
ladies.
y'all later.
Good night.
Bye.